Admiral Carothval stood on the command bridge of the Eternal Dominion, his 8-foot frame encased in ceremonial armor that had witnessed the subjugation of 1,000 worlds. The massive dreadnought stretched for 30 kilometers, its hull bristling with antimatter cannons and reality-warping weapons that could crack planets like eggs. Behind him, a fleet of 2,000 vessels formed the largest armada ever assembled by the Galactic Empire, enough firepower to sterilize entire star systems. Today, they would demonstrate to a new species why the Empire had ruled unopposed for 5 millennia. Contact established with the human vessels, Admiral, reported Subcommander Thexin, her clawed fingers dancing across holographic displays. They're responding to our ultimatum. On the main view screen, space shimmered as the human fleet came into view. Carothval's mandibles clicked in what his species considered amusement. The human ships were laughably primitive. Crude metal constructs that looked like they'd been assembled in orbital shipyards rather than grown in bioforges or crystallized from pure thought like proper vessels. "How many ships?" Carothval asked, his voice resonating through the bridge's translation matrix. "Exactly 12, Admiral. The largest appears to be 3 kilometers long." Carothval's amusement deepened. 12 ships against 2,000. The humans had either lost their collective minds or possessed suicidal courage. Either way, this would be over quickly. The communication array crackled to life, and a human face appeared on screen. Captain Sarah Chun looked unremarkably ordinary. Brown skin, graying hair, wearing what appeared to be a simple blue uniform. She sat in what looked like a cramped, utilitarian bridge that wouldn't have been out of place on an industrial freight hauler. "This is Captain Chun of the Terran vessel Audacity," she began, speaking in clear galactic standard. "I'm responding to your generous offer of unconditional surrender." Admiral Carothval activated his personal communicator, his image appearing on human screens throughout their small fleet. "I am Admiral Carothval, right hand of the Emperor, bringer of unity to the stars. You will immediately stand down your vessels and prepare for processing. Your species will be integrated into the Empire. Resistance will result in the complete obliteration of your homeworld and all colonies. What happened next would be discussed in military academies across the galaxy for generations." Captain Chun began to laugh. It wasn't a nervous laugh or the bitter laughter of desperation, it was genuine, hearty amusement. The kind of laughter shared between friends over a particularly good joke. Within moments, other voices joined in from across the human fleet. 12 ships filled with humans who found the Empire's ultimatum genuinely hilarious. "I'm sorry," Captain Chun said, wiping tears from her eyes. "It's just, bringer of unity to the stars? Did you actually say that with a straight face? Dave, are you getting this?" She turned to someone off-screen. "We need to add this to the collection." Admiral Carothval's bioluminescent patches flared red, a sign of rising anger among his species. "You dare mock the Empire? We have conquered civilizations that span multiple galaxies." "Oh, we're not mocking the Empire," Captain Chun replied, her laughter subsiding to an amused smile. "We're mocking you. There's a difference. The Empire is actually quite impressive. Very organized, excellent logistics, remarkable consistency in your oppression across multiple species. But you're just another middle manager with delusions of grandeur." The bridge of the Eternal Dominion fell silent. In 5,000 years of imperial expansion, no species had ever responded to their ultimatum with laughter and insults. Carothval's tactical officers looked confused, their instruments reading energy signatures from the human ships that made no sense according to known physics. "Commander Chun," came another voice from the human fleet, an elderly man with kind eyes and a gentle smile. "This is Admiral Harrison. Perhaps we should explain why we find this situation amusing." Admiral Harrison's image appeared on multiple screens throughout the Imperial fleet. He looked like someone's grandfather rather than a military commander. "You see, Admiral Carothval, you've made a fundamental error in your assessment of the situation." "And what error is that?" Carothval snarled. "You think you're the predator in this scenario." Harrison's smile never wavered. "Admiral, we've been watching your empire expand for the past 300 years. We know about your conquest of the hegemony, your assimilation of the crystal collectives, your systematic destruction of the free trader guilds. We've been quite impressed, actually. You run a very efficient operation. The old admiral leaned forward slightly. But here's what you don't understand. We didn't come here to fight you. We came here to collect you. Collect us. Karathval's confusion was evident even through the translation matrix. Captain Chen's laughter returned, but now it carried a different edge. Admiral, you've spent 5,000 years conquering primitive civilizations. You've never actually encountered a peer-level threat, have you? Your entire military doctrine is based on overwhelming technological superiority against species that barely understand faster-than-light travel. She gestured to something off-screen, and the human ships began to change. Hull plating shifted and reconfigured, revealing weapon systems that hurt to look at directly. Space around the human vessels began to ripple and bend, as if reality itself was becoming uncertain. We, on the other hand, Chun continued conversationally, spent the last millennium dealing with existential threats from higher-dimensional entities, time-displaced civilizations, and reality viruses that could unwrite entire species from history. Your empire is what we'd classify as a Tuesday afternoon problem. The tactical displays aboard the Eternal Dominion began showing impossible readings. The 12 human ships were somehow generating gravitational fields equivalent to neutron stars while simultaneously existing in multiple dimensional phases. Imperial weapons systems couldn't even achieve target lock. Their instruments insisted the human ships were everywhere and nowhere at once. Impossible, breathed Subcommander Thexin. Their energy output exceeds our entire fleet by 3 orders of magnitude. How are they containing that much power in such small vessels? Admiral Harrison answered as if he'd heard her. Miniaturization, my dear. When you've spent centuries fighting beings that exist outside conventional spacetime, you learn to think efficiently. Why build bigger ships when you can build better ships? Captain Chun stood up from her command chair. Admiral Karathval, I'm afraid your expansion stops here. Not because we're going to destroy your empire, that would be wasteful. Instead, we're going to give you a choice. You offer terms to the empire? Karathval's outrage was palpable. Option 1, Chun continued pleasantly. You turn around, head back to your core worlds, and establish a proper democratic government. We'll send advisors to help with the transition. Your species gets to keep existing and everybody wins. And option 2? Chen's smile became predatory. We turn off your ship's inertial compensators remotely, watch your entire fleet get turned into very expensive pancakes by their own acceleration, then go have a nice chat with your emperor about the benefits of regime change. To demonstrate, one of the smaller Imperial vessels, a mere kilometer-long destroyer, suddenly shuddered as its artificial gravity failed. The crew's screams were cut short as they were instantly compressed against the forward bulkheads by their ship's own momentum. The gravity returned after exactly 3 seconds. Long enough to make the point. How? Karathval whispered. We've been inside your computer systems since before you entered this star system, Admiral Harrison explained kindly. Your encryption is quite good by galactic standards, but you're still using quantum-based computing. We moved past that about 400 years ago. To us, your networks are completely transparent. Captain Chun checked something on her wrist display. You have 30 seconds to decide, Admiral. We have dinner reservations, and we'd rather not be late. The restaurant has a strict policy about punctuality. The bridge of the Eternal Dominion erupted in panic chatter as officers tried to understand how their most advanced fleet had been rendered completely helpless by 12 primitive-looking human vessels. Karathval stared at the tactical displays showing his own ship's weapons targeting his own fleet. This is not possible, he repeated, his voice hollow. Admiral, Captain Chan said gently, we're human. Impossible is just another word for interesting engineering challenge. Now, what's your decision? Admiral Karathval looked at his fleet, looked at the 12 human ships that somehow contained the power of gods, and made the only rational choice available to him. We accept your terms. Excellent. Admiral Harrison clapped his hands together. You won't regret this decision, Admiral. Democracy is wonderful once you get used to it, We'll have our transition team aboard your flagship within the hour. Oh, and Admiral? Welcome to the Galactic community. The real one. As Imperial ships began powering down their weapons and preparing for the most unexpected regime change in galactic history, Captain Chen turned to her bridge crew. Well, that was easier than expected. What's for dinner? The laughter that echoed from the human ships carried across space itself, a sound that would forever change how the galaxy viewed those strange, small beings from the outer rim who had somehow learned to make the impossible look routine.